Happy Sunday. Still morning. We got 4 minutes.
Yep. We're calling this one Take Two because we recorded an excellent show, I want to say Monday evening, and none of it was recorded. It was just in the stages of pre-recording, and it didn't go well. Last week was just a bad week for us as far as like podcasting. We had troubles on the Mark and Dark show, troubles on It's a Goddamn Podcast, and troubles on Lulu and Pop. It was just a rough one.
Yeah, it's a new week though.
It is a new week. I think the new week. I think Saturday is the end of the week technically, and Sunday is the beginning of a new week. So our Saturday we did end it strong with with the first recording of the newest Spaces production podcast, Both Sides, with Chima and Gloria. So that was good. Hopefully that one does well. I mean, I feel like they have a strong presence. It was a good show. It was entertaining. And yeah, and hopefully this week and all weeks moving forward, we won't have every show affected by... Ours wasn't an audio error. Ours was just like forgetfulness. The Mark and Dark show was a technical error, and the It's a Goddamn Podcast recap show was also a technical error where the speaker was just not working. So,
but it's a new week.
It's a new week.
So there's that.
There is that. Welcome to Lulu Pop.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Thank you for coming through and being awesome sauce. We appreciate everyone for listening. And
let's get into it.
Let's do it. So we watched War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yep, we had a date night, Friday night.
Yep. We snuck in, I want to say it was vanilla Ciroc.
Oh,
Was it Ciroc? I think it was Ciroc bottles, right? Is Ciroc vodka?
Absolute. Maybe it was Absolute.
Oh, it was Absolute. Yes, vanilla Absolute into our traditional movie theater soda. There was a very helpful moviegoer who wanted to help us pump butter, get lids for our cup, and also managed to sit next to us in the theater and tried to help me adjust my seat. You know, and at some points in your life, you just got to draw the line, you know, where you go from being helpful to just being like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
We're all adults.
Yeah, like when I was getting like the soda thing, and he was like, "Oh, the lid's over here," and he tried to grab it for me. I'm like, "Dude, I don't want you touching my lid." Like, you can only be so nice to a nice person before their niceness is not even nice any longer.
Annoying as fuck.
It's just hindering the process. So, you know, living dangerous. So yep. So the actual film was actually pretty good. We're going to do a review of it for the Spaces on Spaces Philly social media thing. I've been working on what I call the 1 minute review, where I basically do a movie review in 1 minute. So it'll be a more in-depth movie review that I can crank out in 60 seconds. But I mean, for this particular show, I felt like this movie felt like what Logan felt like as far as like trilogies, or
it felt very final.
Yeah, it felt final. It felt like if they were to do it again, it would have to be like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes Next Generation or some shit. Because it definitely was the end of Caesar's chapters. Who was like a pretty badass ape in this movie, but he looked weathered. He looked rugged.
Tired.
He looked over it.
Yeah. He'd been through a lot of shit.
Right. And one of the things that like I kind of want to watch the other Planet of the Apes movies, because they were going through a thing where the people were losing their ability to speak, and I don't know if that was part of the original Planet of the Apes with like Charleston Heston, because I remember when that movie came out, the big reveal was the big Luke, I am your father moment was when he does get away and he's like on a beach and he's like riding his horse in freedom, and he realizes that that doesn't need to get away from Earth. He's on Earth.
Yeah.
And he just actually was just time displaced. So he wasn't in a new galaxy or nothing. He wasn't in like a new alternative Earth. He was on like a Earth millions of years in the future. So, what'd you think of it?
I really liked it. It was definitely, when it ended, it was one of those movies that I was like kind of sad.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's definitely not a super feel good film.
I'm actually, because I'm on their wiki right now.
Yeah.
And basically, this movie, they're saying, shares several similarities to the fifth film in the original series, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, but is not a direct remake.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was 5 Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that's a whole lot.
I kind of want to watch all of them.
How many are there of these? Is this
3? And then there's the one with Mark Wahlberg.
That doesn't count as one?
No.
Oh, is that the Tim Burton one?
That shit was horrible because he goes
trash.
back through and then he ends up in like, there was like apes as cops and shit. And he like made out with that one chick, the ape chick.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's just getting weird. Like, why are you trying to get some of that monkey butt?
That was before I think, because that was like a Tim Burton movie, but Tim Burton wasn't making a bunch of bullshit at that point. Like I was still, because I was in high school. Like I was maybe a freshman when that came out.
I want to say you probably were because I was out of school.
And I remember being excited for it, and then I saw it. And
you might have been borderline sophomore.
Yeah, I was young. I wasn't old enough to drive. Like I remember I had to get dropped off at the mall to see it.
Did your parents drop you off for movies?
Yeah, someone's parents did.
Oh, really? Mm. My dad would not drop me off for the movies. He would take me to see movies that he wanted to see. And on birthdays, he would. But a lot of times what I would end up doing is I would take the school bus to the closest stop to the movie theater and then walk from the bus stop to the movie theater to go see a movie until I got my driver's license. And then getting back was like tough. Like I remember seeing Star Wars Episode 1 that way, where I was in school, I was in high school, and I was like, I gotta see this movie. The Matrix, I was like, I gotta see this movie. Like I gotta see it. Find a way. I actually think Ray Bond, a friend to the show, a dear friend to me, actually picked me up from The Matrix. Like I think he was just like, I don't know if I called him because we didn't have cell phones or nothing like that. But I think it was one of those situations where he may have seen me walking or something. Because that would happen a lot. Like, oh, bless you, baby.
Sorry, excuse me.
No, it's fine. You don't got to apologize for sneezing. Don't you apologize for sneezing, yo. Fuck these. Yeah, no, that's a natural body function. Don't you apologize.
What if I farted?
I mean, that's natural too. And I mean, I feel like farting is a nice segue into our food. Mainly because, so I had a trip to Austin, and I picked up a really cool looking meal. It came in a bottle, and it was full of beans, and a little thing of beans and spices, and a little thing of Tabasco sauce at the top, and it was called a two-step 5-bean soup, and it's supposed to replicate an authentic cowboy meal, like some shit that like Billy the Kid would have probably tried to cook up if he was like, I don't know, cowboying it
in the desert with a big old pot and some fire.
Right, that's what you think of, right? When you think of like cowboy meals, you don't think of them like
kitchen.
Yeah, you don't think of them on like the back of the horse eating a Hot Pocket or some shit. You really think of them like, you know, like settled out. Maybe it was a long ride. There's a fire. The horse is sitting there chilling, eating some grass or something. And they're just stirring a pot with like their gun by their side. You know, maybe telling stories of the wife that they lost or some shit. And it was good.
Yeah, I threw it in the crock pot.
Yep, took a long ass time to make.
Sure did. That was my first experience cooking dry beans.
Yeah.
Which I was thinking for the winter we're gonna buy a shit ton of dry beans.
I think we should for the apocalypse.
Yeah, well that's what I'm saying because we looked it up because we were actually curious about the shelf life, and technically it's indefinite.
Yeah, it's like Twinkies.
They're just saying after 2 years it starts to lose some of the moisture, which is the vitamins.
Right.
So you lose out on that after 2 years, but you can still eat that shit and not get sick.
Yeah, it can totally go inside your body and do things.
Botulism from some dry beans, so that's dope.
It's pretty amazing. When you really take a lot of nature and break it down to what it is such a beautiful and like amazing creation. And then we do things like throw like, I don't know, high fructose corn syrup around that shit, or like preservatives, and we fuck it up when the shit comes preserved already. Like beans can be preserved forever.
Yep. So we're about to go to. Where do you even get dry beans from? I know Whole Foods has it, but there's
you can get dry beans from anywhere. You can buy them in the bag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my mom used to do a lot of dried beans, a lot of kidney beans and black beans. But then I think she found the freedom of the canned beans, and then just was like, "Oh, this is so much faster."
but we are a house of crockpot. At least I am.
Yes.
And you still happen to reside with me.
Yeah.
So
the crockpot's so weird. I understand people have like strong feelings and opinions about the crockpot. It's just weird.
I just like that. My favorite thing about it is the fact that I could throw a bunch of shit in a pot.
Yeah.
And walk away from it and then come home to dinner.
Yep.
8 hours later and dinner's ready. I don't gotta come home after work.
The problem with me and the crock pot is I don't like soups.
Yeah, you like that soup. I turned it into I know how to
cook
things.
It wasn't so much of a soup. It was more like
with you though, I do try to make things as hearty.
Yeah,
I changed the setup for you.
Right. Cause like the only soups I can fuck with are like flavored like soups like tomato, butternut squash. Clam chowder, like things that are like kind of
heavier,
thicker. Filling. Chicken noodle is like every once in a while, and then like all that other shit is like, do I have to?
Yep.
Like the Italian wedding, like minsto. I'm like I can do a beef stew because it's pretty thick. Speaking of, we should try to do beef stew tonight. That'd be delicious.
Like a vegetarian beef stew.
Yep. So,
is that what you were thinking?
I mean, yeah, sure. The 5 bean two-step 5 bean soup was delicious, and you know what? It didn't make me fart too hard.
No, I didn't feel gassy.
I did visit the room last night and this morning.
Oh,
yeah, but I'm not sure if that was. I don't know if it was just like the straight up beans because there are 5 various beans in there, but I think it might have been the amount of the bean. And plus, we were doing a little bit of celebrating last night for the first recording. So, there's a lot of consumption of things I don't usually consume on a regular basis. So, who knows? But it was delicious. It was good and nutritious. And I will try to find a link to put into the show notes for anyone who's willing to experiment with it. You know what? If you cook it up, Lauren did a great job with it. What did you put into it?
Well, I did add some wheat rice. And I also added some...
Wheat rice or brown rice?
Brown rice.
Okay.
Sorry. And some veggie beef crumbles.
Yeah.
To make it a little... Because I know my baby likes hearty food. So I put something in there to absorb all the liquid.
Yeah.
But I did that an hour before it was done. And it turned out fine. And I also did add sriracha, some Cajun spices, salt and pepper. Because it came with spices, but I knew it was not seasoned enough for my husband.
Oh, because I have black people taste buds.
Yeah, I mean, even me, I was like, this needs something.
Yeah,
I can't serve this up.
Even though you put sriracha in it and it had all the, I needed more spice.
Yeah.
And throwing a little bit of cheese in there didn't hurt.
Yeah. Yep.
I wonder if Diet cheese would even melt in that. I feel like it'll just sit on the top.
I saw that Soy Delicious.
Is it? It is soy. I thought it was so delicious.
They are making cheese now too. I did see that, but
so far the best cheese that we've had has been
the vegan cheese, the
field roast.
Yeah,
field roast made it really good.
Pricey but delicious.
Yeah, I mean
$1 a slice.
Yeah, that is still pricey. I mean, if you use the package, I guess if you got it wholesale, you would still charge $1. So it is pretty pricey,
but it's good.
Yeah. All right. So, oh shit, say word. Oh, I was on your phone the whole time. Can you move your phone for a second? Yeah, there we go. All right. So on to the stories. What's this? You want to go? I go, or do you want me to start with the weather thing? Or
I'll start with the weather thing.
Okay.
So in local news. The almanac is predicting that we're about to have a snowy fucking winter.
Yep. Shout out to the Farmer's Almanac for holding it down for 200 years.
I remember my grandpa used to swear by that thing. Like he always had one.
I always wonder if they go into account for like global warming.
No, they didn't. I think that's what's fucking up a lot of that shit is they were going purely by like I guess the almanac. I don't even know what the almanac really went by.
I don't know how it works.
But I don't think they took into concern that we were going to fuck the planet over.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess people are mad because last year we had a shitty winter.
Last year's winter wasn't bad though, right? It didn't snow that much, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we had a shitty winter and that we didn't really have a winter.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like a mean fall.
Yeah.
It was like a fall that was like, yeah, man, I've been working out.
It was warm at some spots. Some days it was like.
Well, yeah, I remember being confused because we would like leave cold and then need to take off our jackets and stuff by like the evening because it was warm again.
And then I feel like we didn't get any bad snowstorms until like March.
Yeah, and even those weren't crippling. Like we did have the one where it was just not safe to drive.
Yeah, we had. I know my job was canceled once.
Yeah.
Your job maybe been canceled that one the same day, or did you just not drive in?
One of them I didn't drive in, and the other one it was bad. Yeah, but usually when it gets wintertime, if I have any comp days, I'll try to save them up for that so I don't have to use my vacation days.
Yeah, because that's bullshit. That's a whole nother conversation.
About what, global warming?
Well, no, about employers expecting you to use your vacation time when it's unsafe for you to come in. Like, that's not your fault.
Right.
At all.
Well, I mean, people are weird. And they always put the business first. Like, they're like, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this. You should, too. What always cracks me up is when middle management motherfuckers be doing that shit because it's like, yo, how hard are you trying to get to top management to the point where you're just ready to, like, let motherfuckers die? Like, chill out. But my job's kind of great at that because they're just like, if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, you either need to take a comp day or you're just not going to get paid. And as simple as that. And I think that's the way it should be. Like, if you can go. And if you, I mean, when it's like not like a state of emergency, but if you just don't feel safe, because for me, it's like a journey. It's like a 45-minute. That would probably take me like an hour and a half to get the KOP in the snow.
See, I commute. I take public transportation, and sometimes the only time that I feel like it's unsafe is when the sidewalks are sheets of ice. Which, if you live in Philly, sometimes the sidewalks are bullshit.
Right.
And I remember walking in and seeing people fall around me and being like, this is some bullshit. If I sprain my ankle, you motherfuckers, I pay for my hospital bill. Like, this doesn't count as fucking, disability.
Right. Yeah. What is your protocol when you like walk over some like slippery sidewalk?
I do the penguin.
Do you do the penguin?
Do the penguin.
Okay. What is the penguin?
So basically, you like move your feet, kind of like an old person walking, like a shuffle, or like you pick your feet up and like you don't take big steps, and you don't like you have to lift and put down. Like you don't put like the heel first,
right?
And very slowly.
I like to do a slide where the feet don't come off the ground. I feel like if you slide, there's even less chance that you're going to slip because you're just like sliding about. So I kind of do like I consider it like socks on a hardwood floor or like socks on like marble floor where you're just kind of like scooting a boot. That's the way I like to go. Now, when it's up hills, I like hit the diagonals.
Yo, I remember this fucking hill.
And West Philly was dangerous like that too. I don't know if that's the hill you're referring to.
No. But West Philly was dangerous. But no, at my job now, there was like where the plows went through. So to cross the street, was basically plowed in for a long time, and nobody ever shoveled this mound. So people made like a little walkway over the hill, and that walk, like that little, like it was like step prints you would follow that went up and then back down, which turned into ice.
Oh no!
And it was the only way to get over this mountain. Like you were literally like boxed in,
right? And
that shit was there for a couple days. I remember being like, if I fall, I'm falling into the street. Like, you would see people, like, doing the bouncing thing. Like, I'm like, whose job is this?
Right.
Someone drop the ball. I will sue whoever. Whoever.
Okay. Well.
But yeah, so this winter might suck. The good thing is we can still podcast from the house. So.
Yeah, and we can still order food because even though, we're not here, hopefully the Indian spot across the street, hopefully they live there and they'll still be cooking up some grub because they're snowed in as well. I mean, they may not be delivering, but we can waddle our asses over there and get some of that vegetarian masala. That does sound kind of good.
So good.
Yeah, we need to figure out dinner for later. Okay. All right. So moving on to the next story, I was trying to like graze through this, but it's very hardy to digest as exactly what the fuck is going on with this article. So
I thought of you when I read this. Not like that.
None like. Okay, so they say video games may affect the brain differently depending on what you play. So this is interesting in a way. So they said that people who play video games involving first-person shooters, such as Call of Duty and Medal of Honor, experience a shrinkage in the brain region called the hippocampus. So then I tried looking up hippocampus because I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Well, if they explain it in the next sentence too, a little bit.
A little bit, but it wasn't very clear to me as to what it was. And I guess the hippocampus is part of the brain associated with was that spatial navigation, stress regulation, and memory. And they said that players playing like Super Mario games in which noble plumbers strive to rescue a princess had the opposite effect on the hippocampus, causing growth in it. I don't understand why this is a thing, because if you play first-person shooters, I guess it depends on how you're playing them. I guess if you're playing story mode, it is kind of a track, which makes sense. You are only going in one direction. But in games like Super Mario, you're definitely only going in one direction. Like, you may go high or you may go low, but you go from A to B. Like, there's no open world Super Mario game at the moment. And they were saying that maybe it has to do more with, like, the subject matter, like rescuing a princess versus liberating whatever you're liberating. And I think that they were saying that it really boils down to the fact that first-person shooters have a lot more, what is the word I'm looking for? A lot more help with navigation, with like compasses and maps, and they basically tell the player where to go. Where I guess side strollers and other platforming type games, you kind of are up to your own devices to like know when to run, when to jump, how the environment is working in your favor, and how to best utilize that to achieve whatever the mission is. So it's interesting enough that one game you would think like a first-person shooter would make you more inclined to be better at navigating in life than a platformer, because there's no way you're platforming anywhere in real life. I mean, maybe Ninja Warrior, but who's really doing that shit? That's like a regular person, you know?
I'd just like to point out that I did grow up playing Super Mario Brothers, not first-person shooters.
Well, first-person shooters didn't exist back then.
What is like 007?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I think the first one was like Wolfenstein.
Yo, I remember my brother playing that in the basement.
Yeah, that was like the original first-person shooter, and then it was like Doom. And I think definitely GoldenEye helped, and Call of Duty was like, the first Call of Duty was very much like Saving Private Ryan. I even think Spielberg was a part of that game.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it just spun off into like a monstrosity where you're in space fighting fucking Jon Snow. Like, the shit doesn't make any sense. And like Kevin Spacey is like the dude in charge of like making sure you do other space shit.
It makes sense that I feel like this is a cool study to do and something that worth, studying, because some people play video games, like especially like high school teenagers.
Yeah.
Let's say they play, 2 hours during a week a day.
They probably play more than that.
Well, then I want to go with the weekend.
Yeah.
If y'all pay 5 hours a day, which is possible.
I would even say more than that.
So, if you're spending 20 hours a week doing one singular thing, that has to affect you in some way.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying bad or good,
right,
but
yeah. The crazy thing now, though, is like when I was playing video games, there was like nothing to it. Like, you were just playing video games and your parents were like, you should go outside. Those video games will rot your brain. But now, if you're playing video games religiously, like, you could be going down a career path. Because I don't know if you know this, but the newest there's a first-person shooter called Overwatch.
Okay.
And it's just like an arena. It's just like a bunch of characters in an arena, and they have to work on a team to do things with the other team. And they started their first pro league. And the minimum salary, I want to say, is $45,000 a year, and they get vacation and paid medical benefits.
That's what's up.
and there's room for growth. I mean, those are banging ass, and it's like completely open. Like you can be a no one in audition, and if you make the team, you make the team. Okay. So it's like more of a thing now than it was when I was a kid, where you were just like in your room playing Earthworm Jim, and your dad was just like, you need to go and do something else with your life.
Well, it's funny because if you go even farther back to like Nintendo, when I remember we would like when you couldn't save a game, and like Super Mario Brothers 3, that game, I remember us being like pausing it to go eat dinner and being like, nobody touched this shit. You know? Like it's. I
think by then they had a little bit of saving though. Like, you could save levels, but you couldn't because you could save maps.
But you couldn't I think it was like if you had to do a whole world again, right? Like you couldn't.
So like if you were in like World 5-1. You would be in like, let's say you were playing 5-1 and you didn't finish it, you would just still be in 5-1.
Like you had to complete that whole world. You couldn't save at 5-7.
I don't know. I don't remember that part, but I remember it being not as bad as like Super Mario 2 and Super Mario 1. Mario. I really like Super Mario 2. It was just really hard.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
I like playing as the different characters because they move differently. Like Princess would glide, and I really liked the way that Luigi jumped. He was kind of like kicking the clouds.
See, I love
and
Super
Yoshi
Mario
was my
3.
dude. Yeah.
Loved that one.
That one was good too. I do believe you could. I think if you opened a world, it was good to go. I don't remember 100%, but I know like Super Mario, like you started from 0-0 every time.
Yep, there's no saving it.
Yeah, but it was easy. You could beat that game in 20 minutes if you were religious, because you can just like warp to like 8 something, and then you just had to like go through that last like dungeon.
I just remember us being though like spending like entire days, and like it would be summer in the basement and being like taking shifts to like
beat the game.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of Super Nintendos. We had like a lot of Genesis, and we weren't really. I wasn't really big on the platformers as much as like other people. By that time, we were like moving. Like my brother played a lot of sports games, so I ended up playing a lot of games like that, like a lot of like NHL for some reason. I don't know why we had like a lot of NHL games, but we used to do stuff like that. Streets of Rage, games like that, and I think we really got the Genesis because it was black.
Looked nice,
and it was just like I just felt it was like the black system, where like the Super Nintendo was just like gray.
I'm waiting for it because isn't Super Nintendo supposed to be released again?
I think it already kind of is, and it's not doing. It's going to do weird because they're not going to release enough to accommodate.
If they could just release one where there's like, 30 games up on it, like the good ones like Super Mario World, Zelda.
Well, that one is coming out. It has like 30 dope games on there, like Link to the Past. This is gonna be. It's like when I say it's not going to do well, it doesn't mean the system's going to suck. They're just not going to release enough for everyone to get one.
And then like people are going to try to resell it for fucking 10 times.
Yeah,
the retail
especially
price.
Like around Christmas time. It's just
bullshit.
You could run Raspberry and build your own like mod setup, and you can have every Super Nintendo game if you wanted to on like a hard drive with like a controller port. It's not super difficult. It's not as hard as like building your own super fast computer, but it does take a little bit of knowledge, and like I would say YouTube and dedication. I feel like you can do so many things if you're really dedicated to it. So I don't know what's up with the study. I guess it makes sense if you really think about it. I just would think first person shooters, because you have to memorize maps, and I just remember like having to like shoot backwards and know where to go to get away. Because like if someone was like coming at you, you want to know the fastest way to get to a spot where they couldn't get you at. So maybe I think maybe they're talking about just like super casual. I'm playing the story mode. Because the story mode is really, you can't go anywhere. It's literally straightforward. And there's no obstacles, which kind of makes sense because you're just like, the obstacles are people. It's not like you have to remember to like time your jumps properly because there are none. You just like, you're a dude in a helicopter, you land, and they're like, all right, liberate this thing. And you go and you shoot a bunch of people and you do it. And they're like, okay, now there's another problem. I need you to hold it off while I hack this computer. And then you're like, for 15 minutes or such, you're like battling in like a room or something. And it doesn't require a lot of knowledge. But when you do like multiplayer and stuff like that, the people who do best are the people who know the maps. Because if they're shooting you and you're like shooting them, they can shoot you and still move the map and navigate to their safety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of like fighting in your home versus fighting in like a strange place. Like you know where there's like a closet with like a thing, or you know like, okay, we have to be really careful around this one particular thing because it's really weak and you might fall through and hurt yourself. And you can use that to your advantage. So I think it really does depend. And I think people who take it on the surface level are just like, video games are video games, and first person shooters are blah, 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 blah. And Mario is God. I'm like, yeah, man, chill out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What you got?
All right. So, I found this little blurb on Huffington Post, which I thought was interesting, about how much caffeine is actually in your coffee. Because all coffees are not created equal. According to the Center for Science in the Public Interest, the milligrams of caffeine per ounce vary from chain to chain as widely as the mood of someone hopped up on 6 cups of coffee from Mickey D's. All right, so the weakest coffee, McDonald's.
Naturally.
Believe
it's
that.
kind of like dirt water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does nothing for me.
Not a fan. It's the cheapest as well.
It sure is. Followed by Seattle's Best, which is that a chain?
Yeah.
Have you ever had it?
Yeah.
How is it?
It's good. I don't think there's a Dunkin' Donuts out there. And I think it's like, because I think Starbucks owns them. I think they're a softer version of Starbucks.
Okay. So then there's a place called Bigsby Coffee, which is still...
Never had Bixby.
Then right in front of that, barely, is Dunkin' Donuts. I haven't heard of that place. I'm not even going to talk about it. I've heard of Caribou.
Right.
I've heard of Pete's.
I've had Pete's. Pete's is pretty good.
And then there's Starbucks, which has almost twice as much caffeine as a cup from Dunkin' Donuts.
I mean... Obviously.
So, in that sense, you get what you pay for.
You do, and it's also like better quality.
Yeah. And then I've never, is Death Wish Coffee a chain or I thought that was
I thought it was just a brand.
Let's see.
That you can just purchase. I have no interest in drinking any coffee labeled Death Wish. Because I think dying by coffee is like the most bitch-made way to go.
Also, do you see how much coffee they have? That's like it's more than 2 times the amount of a Starbucks cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That's a shit ton. To give everyone some numbers, McDonald's is a 9.1 milligrams of coffee.
Right.
Then we go to 12.7 for Dunkin's. Starbucks is 20.6, which sounds like a lot to me.
Right.
And Death Wish is 54.2.
Oh, really? It's that? I thought it would have been higher. Like that cup, like the picture makes it like almost, I thought it was going to be like a fucking 95% coffee. like you're just ingesting heartaches and heart palpitations or something.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Would you be interested in drinking some Death Wish coffee? Like if I got some, would you be like, yo, come drink this Death Wish coffee?
I don't think I would be into that. Let's see. So I just Googled how much caffeine can you consume each day.
Yeah.
Up to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day appears to be safe for most healthy adults.
Right.
That's roughly the amount of caffeine in 4 cups of brewed coffee, or 10 cans of cola, or 2 energy shots. That seems like a fuck ton of caffeine.
Energy shot? What's like a Red Bull?
No, those. I'm guessing it's those.
Don't beat the mic. They did nothing to you.
You know the. Anywho, you know the little ones I saw at the front of the gas station counter, the little shots.
Oh yeah, the 5-hour guys.
Yeah, that's the word.
So I guess you can have 10 hours of that, and then be good to go.
Yeah, 2 of those a day. Don't do no more, apparently.
Okay. I don't know. I have a mixed relationship with coffee. I feel like it's one of those things that only help you because it hurts you in the process.
I mean, I know partly for me,
Yeah.
it's mental. Like, I love the smell of coffee in the morning.
Right.
It's like, also, like, at least Monday through Friday on the weekend, I'm a little better because it's the weekend and I'm like, woo, you know, carefree and full of hope.
Right.
But, like, Monday morning,
Mm-hmm.
don't fucking talk to me till I drink my coffee. Like,
Right.
I need those 10 minutes of solitude while I sip my coffee and contemplate. But if I don't have my coffee,
You don't have a good day.
I don't have a good day. I just feel tired. But I know that's mostly mental or partly mental. But it's not like I've actually cut down a lot of coffee compared to, like, let's say our Starbucks days.
Well, yeah, because we were just like working there and like just making it pop off like on a reg because it was free.
That's true.
And it does help with your appetite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the relationship portion. And I hate this story. But we're going to do it because it's so absurd to me. But
I think we need to work on our use of hate. You've used that a lot today.
hate?
Mm-hmm.
I did hate that movie.
I know. It's just a strong word.
Oh, my God. I mean, I did, though. I don't feel like I throw it around like, I hate jam. That movie was making me angry. The movie that we're referring to, we watched Girl House. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I hate that movie is because it costs so much to make. I love a good bad movie. I really do. Mm-hmm. I do. And I love a good bad horror film. And nothing sounds better to me than like a slasher in a house with like, you know, like cute girls and like the boobs and like all of like the tropes that go with it. And it's like, you know, it's kind of like fun and tongue in cheek. But this movie was like, it was like part Leatherface, part Saw.
Yeah.
Because it was gruesome.
Yeah.
Part Leatherface, part Saw. And then it was one of those films that thought it was really smart, but none of it made like smart sense. So I was like, this movie's frustrating me, and I can just tell like they could have just saw it, did this and this, and then because I kind of want to write a horror film because I feel like it's like one of the easier genres to like break into. Uh-huh. So I look into the budget, and this thing was like a $4 million film.
Happens when you have rich parents.
Well, then I looked it up even more, and it was like this guy who wrote and directed this he's like the youngest son of a billionaire, and it just made me even more angry. Because you can just have like, you know what I mean, like money trumps talent every day of the week. You know,
you just can't. I mean, it was just a movie.
I understand what you're saying, but it's kind of like I don't think you would understand my rage because I'm trying to like I would try to do something like if I had that opportunity, like if they was like, hey, you can make because it's just like when a bad movie gets made, I'm always like, who allowed this to happen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who was like reading the script and was like the first sign that this movie was going to be kind of shit was like so you saw all these. The first sign
was
the opening,
the description. Like, I expected a shit movie.
I expected a fun shit movie. Like, remember that one that we watched where it was like those people were in high school and they broke into the high school to stay the night, but everyone that was supposed to be high school was like 35. And it was like campy, and there was like a little bit of boob here and there, and it was like, oh, we're gonna have sex in the gym room, and then the dude comes out. Yeah, like that's what I was hoping for, or like
you gotta watch an '80s movie to get. Well, like
I thought it was gonna be like one of like the newer ones, kind of like The Void, where The Void was kind of like it was kind of campy, it was really weird, and when I left, I wasn't angry. I was like, that was like a shitty good film. Oh, you know what I mean? Where it's just
that
like
one made my brain. I was just like, this is doing too much.
Yeah, this one, I think this one made me mad because of the production value to it and the fact that it tried to take itself seriously.
So, also with this article, I already told you, I feel like it's a good conversation starter. Not necessarily to do with this couple.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like hate is a strong one because I feel like it's a good conversation starter for what is a deal breaker to you. Like, that's really why I picked it. It hadn't, I didn't want to have you hate it or anything. I mean...
Well, I'm gonna tell you why I hate it after I get into it.
Why do you know why you hate it? But that's not really the point of this article.
I know, and I'm still doing it. So what we have here is the socialite couple announces Trump divorce in a press release. First of all, they had a press release for their divorce is like already kind of infuriating me.
Well, because they're famous. That's like Chris Pratt and Anna Faris.
I don't think they had a press release. I think that just kind of got leaked on the tabloids and such.
That
like I don't think
everywhere. And they did announce it.
Oh, well, I think they may have announced it after it got leaked. But these are definitely not super famous people. These are just like people who think they're famous enough to have a press release. You know what I mean? So what we have here is 36-year-old Lynn Ehrenberg and don't even say what's the guy's name?
Dave.
46-year-old Dave were married for 2 years, and they recently got a divorce over their differences over the new president of America. And I was like, oh, well, this is cool. Like, because I heard about this story before you had put it on here, but I didn't look much into it. And naturally, I just kind of assumed that, like, one person was like, I love Trump. Another person was like, I don't like Trump. Trump's awful and he's destroying this country. I need to, like, divorce you. But that was not the case. With this case, the actual Lynn, who is an avid Trump supporter, actually filed for divorce from her more liberal husband, Dave Ehrenberg. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks because, like, the Trump chick was like, I love Trump and you don't love Trump, so fuck you, which kind of makes sense because I feel like a lot of Trump supporters are not super rational.
Nope.
So then it goes on into the settlement. And Lynn is, I guess she used to be a cheerleader of sorts who now runs
former Miami Dolphins cheerleader.
Right. And she now runs a media firm. And Dave is a state's attorney. She will be receiving $100,000 worth of benefits in exchange for signing on the dotted line. And her husband will also be, will have to cover her rent.
Up until next summer.
Yep. And a new BMW and $40,000 in cash. To me, that's so crazy. Like,
and but the thing is, it's like he's a state attorney too.
Well, he didn't initiate the divorce. Like, that's the crazy part for me. Like, that's why it's like I'm thinking
he probably couldn't stand her ass either. Like, I feel like you can't. That's such a big difference in character.
Yeah, but he didn't pull the trigger.
I know.
That's the part that's blowing my mind, is the fact that she was like, I fuck with Trump. You don't fuck with Trump. Fuck you. Give me $100,000 worth of benefits, pay my rent, a new BMW, and $40,000 in cash.
Maybe, I mean, unless he fucked up somewhere and she, they're not.
Give me that story. I would rather bump on this story if it was like, yo, like, I caught him out in the streets and he was a dirty dog, and also he doesn't bump with Trump. You know what I mean? But I was like
that. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where the hate comes from, because it's like, it's like a sign of Trump. Like, he should not be in the office, and he won. And it's just like, why do the Trump people keep winning? Because this Trump supporter type chick is like, yo, fuck out of here. I don't want to be with you no more because you don't like Trump. Give me all this money. Give me all this. Give me this and give me this. And then it's out. Mm-hmm. You know? And then she initiated the divorce, which tells me he probably would have powered through for like 4 or 5 years or 8 years, because Trump's not going to be president forever. Mm-mm. You know? So he probably was like, yeah, we don't disagree. We disagree now, but we'll just weather the storm because marriage is forever. And she was like, nah, fuck you. Mm-hmm. That's where the hate comes from. Because it's just like one of those, like, it's like the villain wins, you know? Not to say that she's a villain because she hates Trump, but
I mean, in my mind,
I don't think you're a sane person.
You're siding with the enemy.
Yeah, I don't think you care about what is the term? I don't think you care about humanity on a grand scale.
You're not concerned with anyone but yourself.
Exactly. And, selfish people win all the time, and it's just frustrating. And I think because I'm seeing it on like the biggest of all grand scales, like the battle of the free world, like when America lost the leader of the free world, like, moniker, like, that kind of sucks a little bit, because we had some things going for us, but the leaders of the free world justified a lot of things that we did, and now we don't have that. And everyone can hate on Obama all they want. But he did a better job than this.
Oh, he sure did. We're all not about to die.
Yeah. So I think I would not hate this story if the husband was like, I need to do better with life. You don't care about humanity. It's over. And then gave her all that money even still. Sure. Fine.
There's
more to it.
There's more to this story.
I believe that too.
He's probably, because he's also a state, attorney. Like, he's a pretty high profile person in Florida.
Right.
He probably wants this shit gone. I don't know what, but there's something. He's probably like,
why didn't he file? That's the only thing that bothers me the most. Like, there's power in filing first. I don't know if you know anything about like that, but like apparently the people who file first, they're usually seen as the ones who initiated the resolution of the conflict. Mm-hmm. So if you file first, usually you get all your shit in first. It's kind of like being the first one to report something, or being first. There's power in that. He's a state attorney. Why wouldn't he file first? Like, telling me that she beat him to the punch.
There's something more.
I don't know.
I think it's not just that. Like, I think there's more. Like,
Like what? Like,
I don't know.
Like he's a cross-dresser or something? Or
that would be wild if she has some super dirt on him, though.
Yeah.
He's like closeted gay, which there's nothing wrong with that. But like,
yeah, he would be fine with that because it's not like he's a Trump supporter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Maybe more will come out.
And only like a 2-year marriage is, I don't respect that.
That's not long.
That's not long. Yeah, no.
I wonder how long they were together before they got married.
I can guess.
A year?
Maybe. Because he's 46 and she's 36. So he probably thought he came up. She was a cheerleader. I'm looking at the picture of her. She looks very Aryan-esque.
Yeah, she looks very generic.
Yep. She kind of looks like Ivanka a little bit if you was to squint your eyes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And he just looks like he looks like Dave.
Yeah.
Like so that's where the hate comes from.
But yeah, so basically these people how am I trying to word this? Mm-hmm. For like all that we know,
right?
They're divorcing over the political differences.
Yeah.
Would you divorce someone over, like, what would be your, not including like cheating or anything like that, but I'm talking about beliefs.
Yeah.
Like, what would be a deal breaker?
Like,
I would find it very, like, I don't like.
If I was a Trump supporter,
yeah,
I don't know if that's divorce worthy, because presidential shit is temporary. I think if you adopted like the lifestyle, like if you were like, I hate all Mexicans. And I'm going to go to the border and I'm going to start a regime and we're going to shoot Mexicans that come across the border. When I see Mexicans anywhere, I kind of spit in their direction. I like, that's like the lifestyle. I think a lot of people, the funny thing is everyone who like bumps with Trump, depending on what scale they're in, determines what I think their motivations are. And a lot of wealthy people who bump with Trump, they're just selfish and they're trying to get as wealthy. Because he's here to make rich people richer and poor people poorer. Mm-hmm. And he's making, breaks and benefits to benefit people who have money. It just so happens that a lot of people who have this money are also super Nazi racist people. Yep. And he said a lot of things to garner their attention as well. So he's like silently aligned himself with that type of movement. So is everyone who supports Trump racist? No. Not everyone. Is the large bulk of them racist? Absolutely.
And to be honest, at least with me, I will associate you with some form of racism if you are still bumping with Trump. I will give you even, or if it's not racism, it's
separatism on some level.
Something, because you're putting aside all of the things that he said that are racist, are sexist, are homophobic.
Right.
And you're putting what betters you in front of that.
Right.
So, like, that's, to me, I'm like, I'm just going to call you a racist. Like, to your
face. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't think they were all necessarily racist. I do believe a large chunk of them are.
Oh yeah.
And the really rich ones, they just are sociopathically selfish to the point where they would rather be the richest man on the cinder block than to be on a world where everyone's living equally. Like they're the type of people that will be like, if I can't have it, no one can. I would rather destroy it all. And I don't think that because at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about race. Like realistically, it's not like they're saying like, oh, I just want to help poor white people become rich like me so we can get on top of these black people and really they're like, no, fuck those poor people. Definitely fuck those poor black people. Oh, you're a rich black dude? I might do business with you, but still, fuck you too. At the end of the day, all they care about is just more wealth for them. You know what I mean? And then there's the ones who are like, I hate black people. I hate Mexicans.
So
Trump hates Mexicans.
Would there be any other thing, just thinking outside of this?
Any type of cult behavior, like super strong religious-y, culty type shit.
What about Scientology?
If you became a Scientologist, I'll probably bump with you until we had kids or something and they tried to make the kids Scientologists or something.
I'd be like, our kid's marrying Tom Cruise's daughter.
Yeah, if he was heavy into it, and if you were trying to get me heavy, you know what I mean? Like I probably would have been like, dude, he didn't file this divorce because he was like, yeah, I don't fuck with Trump. She fucks with Trump, but he's going to be out soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like he hasn't hit the Hitler levels yet. You know what I mean? Where if he was to start camping, Hitler was to the point where if you were supporting Hitler, you were obviously on some really, really fuck shit.
You were getting, they all got, not all of them, but a lot of them got in trouble.
Yeah. So Trump is just, he's like a symbol for some shit. And it's starting to get to that point, but I don't know if we'll ever get to I don't know if we'll mention Trump in the same pages as Stalin, Mussolini, Castro, I guess Hitler.
We'll see.
I don't think he's that smart. I think he'll get us in that direction where maybe someone a little bit more intelligent can sneak in. He's not very smart. He can he's smart enough to fuck shit up and destroy some shit. But those type of people, they did a lot. You know what I mean? George Bush is smarter. Yeah. I don't think he's just a bad person. He's not a stain in humanity. Yet. I don't think he'll get there. I don't think he'll be here around long enough. Yeah. He might. I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
I'm hoping that
he's gone.
I'm hoping that the little briefcase, I hope
the fucking football that he just lets go through the Murcielago, because why not?
I would love it if they never actually gave it to him. They were like, you know what? I'm going to hold on to this.
Yeah.
See how this goes. How's his Twitter? No, look at his Twitter now.
Yeah,
this dude can't have this.
I think he should be banned from Twitter. Because he be threatening mass genocide and shit, and you can get banned from Twitter for that. Twitter, if Twitter banned the president, their company would just be destroyed. But I still think it would be better in a more show of support.
We ain't putting up with that shit.
Yeah, and I think that's how bad people get into the powers to be the next Hitlers and Stalins and low key Putin is more on that level than Trump is.
Yeah, he's a scary dude.
Trump isn't scary to me yet. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to...
The people that follow him scare me.
The people who follow him scare me, but he himself isn't scary. You know what I'm saying? Where Putin is a scary dude. Stalin was a scary dude. Hitler was kind of a scary dude. He was he was tiny, but he was still he was kind of scary. Trump is just dumb. You know what I mean? And he's pushing dumbness, and dumb things are happening on a grand scale.
Yeah.
I don't think, and he's dangerous as he's dangerous like a kid with a gun. You know what I mean? He's not dangerous like a crazy psychopath sniper who's shooting people. Yeah. That type of dangerous. He's not like that. He's just, So that would be my only real deal breaker. He would have to be on some culty shit. Or some extreme hate shit. Or actually, it doesn't have to be that serious. If you just go into a serious direction that I can't roll with, let's say you want to be and
polygamy.
Polygamy.
Yeah,
that's kind of a deal breaker.
Yeah,
you know. Or if you wanted to become like an extreme weird person where we just live off the grid, and we're like making our own butter and shoes. Like, I don't think I could bump with that for a long period of time. I might try to entertain it a little bit and see if I can do it.
We'll make a documentary on it.
Yeah, and then if it was like legit, like you're trying to like do childbirth in like a fucking tub in the backyard or some shit, and I'm supposed to catch that shit and chew through a cord, like, nah, man, we're going too far. What about you? If I became a Trump supporter, would you divorce me?
That would be tough. Because it would have to be something that, like, because I wouldn't even fuck with someone from the beginning if, like, their views were, like, racist, homophobic, sexist. Any of those things would be automatic deal breakers for me. But it's like if you're with someone and they change.
Yeah, the hard changes.
Yeah. That shit would be tough.
I think they were like this beforehand, though.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm, like, not really...
Yeah.
This is just a conversation starter.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, if you're with someone... and they change.
Yeah.
At what point are you like, And
yeah.
That shit would be tough for me if, like, you were someone super open minded. We have gay friends. We have all types of friends.
Right.
And then you just wake up one day and you're like, you know what?
God told me. God told me
in a dream.
That's such a cop out because God could be anything to you. You know what I mean? Like,
and anytime a God tells someone, they're like, someone's like, God told me to hate this person. I'm
like,
like,
what's your God's name? Like, which God are you talking about? Are you talking about like God, our Lord and Savior, or do you have your own God? Is your God the toaster?
Yeah.
Like, you never, like, when people are like, God told me to do this, or God gave me a vision. I'm like, who is your God?
Because your God sounds like a dick.
God
telling you to shoot someone.
In the Bible, like, the Lord did some wild stuff in there. The whole flooding of the earth the first time around was
kind of fucked up.
That was pretty extreme.
Yep.
That's an extreme way of saying you're fired. Like,
true.
I didn't do good. Like, we got to hit a hard reset on this shit. So, it really does depend on how you want to look at it and who you think your God is. To be like, like God told me. Like, people who say that, I usually believe them. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, yeah, I know a God. Your God told you. What is your God? Who is he? Because, your God could be your dog.
True.
Because it's all weird. It's all subjective. People was like, yo, the burning bush. Like in the Bible, the burning bush was a real thing. And if you're just hallucinating and you're tripping balls, you can possibly think the talking TV. I hear messages through the TV. Like, just think about how crazy the burning bush sounded back then. Like, now we've grown up with that story of like the burning bush, like giving directions. I think it was to Moses or something along those lines. Like, like God communicating through this burning bush. If you was like, that was like their time. They didn't have cell phones. So imagine if like you came home one day and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, baby, you need to sit down. I got to tell you some things. And you're like, what's up? And I was like, I was on a laptop today and the laptop went black and it caught on fire. And through that fire, God told me there's some things I need to do.
First of all,
and then you're like, where's the laptop? Yeah. And I like point to it and the shit's on fire. Like, it's like a burnt laptop. You would be like, why'd you burn your laptop? You know what I mean? I'm like, I didn't burn my laptop. The laptop just caught on fire and it told me what to do. Like, you would just be like, would you rock with me with that?
I would probably try to get you in therapy. That would be my first. I would like unless it was some super wild shit where I'd have to call the cops on you because I'm like, my husband thinks he needs to murder a bunch of people.
What if I was like, I have to drive cross country and kidnap a person?
See that shit, I'd be like.
But what if some of the things started kind of adding up? Like, I was like, I have to kidnap a person, and it's like Stacy Wardoff from North Dakota, and you like do like your low key research, and you find out that there is like a Stacy such and such in North Dakota. And I'm like at the right address and shit.
I'm like, baby, you're going to go to jail.
And I'm like, I know, but I'll be rewarded in the afterlife. That's what the laptop told me.
I can't rock with you with that. Like, I can't be like, I knew. Because I'm about to get in trouble too then.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know. I always feel like if I can, I don't know. And like also like what if you realize that you were really like a woman in a man's body, a man in a woman's body. And you're like, I want to transition. I want to be a dude. Mark, would you still stay with me? And I would be like, why? I would be like,
did you know? Like, that would be like, yo, did you know?
Why do you want me to stay around? Like, I don't understand why you want me to stay around.
Did you? They used to have those shows on, like, Maury and, like, that shit. But that was, like, before it was...
It was like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
like,
motherfuckers had whole families.
Well, yeah, if I was like to be like, hey, listen, I'm really a woman. I want to transition. Would you? And I was like, I still am attracted to women.
See, my thing is, I'm not attracted to women. Like, there's nothing. I mean, that's just
right.
Never have been.
Yeah.
I can barely stand myself sometimes as a woman. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah. I think
be with another woman.
If you did, I would try. I would give it like a real try. Like I wouldn't do like the shit where it's like not even considerable. It would happen. We would have a conversation, and I would be like, "What does this entail?" Like I would go through the steps. I would go through like seeing how this works, seeing how this plays, and give it like a real try because I don't take divorce lightly.
I know.
And I would just give it an honest try. And if it didn't work out, I would be like, I can't do this part of your journey, but I can still be a part of your life. Like, I don't think I would just like skadoosh on you and be like, you're a heathen. But if I couldn't go through, like if it was like time to have sexy time and you had a beard and you got your chest surgery done and it's just like your name is like Lawrence or some shit or Lorenzo, like I would just be like, this is really difficult.
Real far stretch of a name.
It was like looking on this website and I found something that I felt like I would like to talk about to kind of get me out of the funk of the whole Trump people winning.
Okay.
And it's an interesting conversation called love bombing. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, so you've heard of ghosting. You heard of ghosting in a relationship. Ghosting is when you're with a person and then you're not heavy. You're like in like the early stages of dating and you just disappear.
Okay, yeah.
That's ghosting. And then there's a thing called benching. Have you heard of benching?
Is that when you like put someone in like the back burner? Yeah,
essentially. Basically, what benching pretty much is it's glorified friend zone.
Oh.
Yeah, like you're never up at bat. You only get to swing when someone else seriously strikes out. So now there's this new one called love bombing. And basically the way love bombing works is a person would meet someone and then come on real hard, strong. You're the love of my life. Like love is said, love actions are held.
Jesus.
Yeah, this is crazy, right? And you like, and it's like romantic. You're like, we're going to be together forever. Kind of like how when we first started dating, I felt like I came on extremely strong. But it was like, I kind of was like, I don't know. I felt like in the earlier stages, I was like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm looking for. And then when we hit that certain point, I was like, all right, 0 to 100. This is where we at. You know, it would be like if I did that and then we slept together and then I disappeared.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yo. So are they lying? Or do they really believe, do they really believe that?
I don't know. Let me see. They're addicted to the romance. They're addicted to the newness. So it's extreme high levels of infatuation. So technically, they're not lying. What they are is irresponsible.
I feel like you can only do that for so long, at least in like one place, because eventually that shit's gonna get out. Yo, like, you know, like, hey, Ted told me he loved me on the second date, and then someone else is like, yo, he told me he loved me too, and he fucked me and left. Yeah. And then, you know what I mean, like, that'll get out.
Like, prime example, Lawrence did a love bomb almost on the Insecurity, where he was like showing up and he was hanging out and then he just disappeared, you know? Yep. Like, isn't that such a crazy concept? Do you think you've ever been love bombed in like the early stages of a relationship or anything like that?
I never had anyone say like, I love you, but I've had people be like, I think, you know, you are special and this is going to go somewhere. And
right. Well, do you think that was more, but was the actions and the talk on this, like, do you think they were just saying that as like a measure of gaming, or was it kind of like they seemed sincere?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because motherfuckers are weird.
True that. I can honestly say I've never been love bombed. I've been benched a lot. I've been ghosted on. I've ghosted people. I'm thinking hard if I've ever love bombed someone, and I think I might have.
Not intentionally.
Right. I think I might have. Because sometimes I can kind of like, I think I might have with like the pure intentions where I thought me and this person might have been like a good fit, and we go hard, and then I see something, and then everything crumbles. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, because I feel like a lot of times with love and infatuation, you don't really see that person. You're seeing like it's like a fake image, like a charade, and then something can snap, and then you see the real person, and your real person version of them and your mental version have to line up enough for you to move forward. And it was just like a 180. And I was just like, yeah. But I don't think I completely disappeared. I think I actually said, I'm leaving.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? But it was like, I said, I'm leaving after not being around for a little bit.
Okay.
Where it went from like an everyday thing to like, you didn't see me for like 5 days, and then I'm like, I'm out. Where love bombing, I think you just disappear.
Yeah. You say some intense shit and you leave.
And you do some intense. It's not even like, it's words and actions that go into the love bombing. And it is people who are addicted to romancing and the newness. And I think the minute, you know what? We actually kind of saw a movie about this. I don't know if you remember it, but it had Seth Rogen in it, and it had his wife. Yeah. And it started with her like baking something and being really weird in the kitchen, and she was just like laying on the oven. And then she got with that dude who was like all types of crazy and like sexy and shit. And then they did all of the sex. And
you thought they were gonna end up together, right?
Yeah, well, they kind of do. Like, she ends up with him, and then it's like it shows them having crazy wild sex, and then it just shows them sitting on the couch reading, and then it ends with her doing the same thing she was doing in the beginning of the movie, which was like baking cookies and laying next to the oven and staring at it. And it's like those type of people are like addicted to
the excitement, the
newness of it. Yeah, they don't like it when the new smell wears off. So I just figured, like, I saw that in the bottom, and I was like, love bombing. And I read about it, and I was like, It was either that one or the new thing is people airdropping dick pics on subways.
Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
I mean, both of those kind of like made me chuckle a little bit because the lady's face is like, she kind of looks like Heather with purple hair, like young Heather with purple hair.
When you said love bomb, I pictured like balloons full of glitter. Like, I pictured something way different.
Nah, it's horrible.
Like, if you, yeah, it's not cute.
Yeah, no, it's not cute at all. They're horrible, horrible, disgusting people who love bomb. So, yeah, that's it for me.
All right.
That wraps us up.
That wraps us up.
Oh wait, no. We have a Dear Lulu and Pop if you wanna do it.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay. So, on this, we have a letter from someone. We don't have a name.
No, it was an anonymous.
Okay. So here we go. Hey guys, love the show. I just wanted to ask how you would deal with a coworker that you don't like and you have to work in close proximity to. We are literally in the same office, and I have to deal with this person's nonsense for 8 hours a day.
That's fucking tough.
How would you handle that?
So, I mean, I feel like we've all had any jobs,
right,
where there's someone there that pushes your buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Generally, at least, it's tough though if you work directly with them,
right?
Because my first attempt is to just avoid them as much as possible and like stay away from them,
right?
But I've had to work in close proximity with people that I
didn't like that
I've had to call out, like,
yeah.
But I know that's not very professional. But also, I mean, depending on this coworker, if it's just someone that's annoying, that you're like, or if they're saying some wild shit that you're like, I have to address this.
That's true as well. Like, we don't know what degree of dislike this is. Is this like I dislike your person or your personality, or you are a horrible human?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the major difference. Because if I dislike someone's beliefs and personality, I can easily just not deal with them.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually pretty good at separating work.
Just be professional at work with them.
Yeah. But if I hated them as a person, like they eat people's foods. They're loud. Maybe they fart or they smell bad.
They say problematic things.
They're racist. They're sexist. Whatever it is. And if I can't talk to them, I'll go to someone else.
Yep.
I'll be like, hey, listen, I can't with this person. Is there any way we can either switch offices, switch working partners, something? I just feel like if we continue to work together, there might be, I don't want to say an altercation, but I would be like, it's going to make for an unpleasant work environment.
Yeah, it's affecting my workplace.
Yeah, and hopefully there's more reports. Like, it sucks if you're the only one.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it could be tough, like, depending on, like, at least for me and you, like, if you're the only black person.
Yeah, which I am in a lot of places.
Or if I'm the only woman.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm being harassed.
Right.
And everyone else, because I've definitely had things where I'm like, yo, that guy's creepy. And it's been all dudes that are like, really? I don't see that. I'm like, well, he is.
I often feel like I might be creepy sometimes, and it comes from such a weird place for me because it's like I never intend to be creepy, but then when I hear how like actions can be creepy-esque, I was like, oh, I guess so. Like the other day, I was at work, and there's like this long hallway that we have in between our office and another office, and our building's under construction, so there's like this long hallway you have to go down to go to the bathroom. Whenever I come, and like the bathroom is in the middle of the hallway, but there's like a corner that separates the rest of the hallway. So it's kind of like hard to describe. It's not like a straight line. It's shaped more like a zigzag, like a soft zigzag, like a Tetris piece, like the one that's shaped like a doot, doot, doot. And I was coming out the bathroom. And when I was coming out the bathroom, instead of just making a left and going straight down the hallway to my office, I came out the bathroom and I peered around the corner I peered to my right to see who was coming down the office toward the creative office. As I said that, I just so happened to see a female coworker walking up. And as I peered back around, I saw her and I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And she was like, that was really creepy. And I was like, oh, no, I just do that all the time just to see who's in the hallway. And like, should I be on my phone or not? Or like, if I just so I can just generally know who's behind me and who's doing whatever. But I think she took it as I was looking to see if we were alone in the hallway. You know what I mean? And I was just like, yeah, that probably came off hella creepy. But in my defense, I was literally just being like, who else is in this hallway? That way I have to monitor myself. And then I look up and I see her. And, she wasn't like.
Did you explain yourself or no?
I just say no. I always do that. My bad. I didn't mean like to be creepy. I just generally always do that. And she just was like, yeah. But it's like there is no. A lot of times there's no explaining your creep factor after you've creeped.
Yeah.
Very rarely can you articulate.
I guess because like I tend to like be able to like read people, so I can tell if like you're a creep or not.
Right.
Like, some people are just fucking creepy. Especially, there's, like, if people think this isn't true, it's very true. Word of mouth at the office gets out fast. Like, my second day at my one job, this dude came up to me and started talking to me. He walked away, and the one girl training me was like, don't talk to him. He's fucking weird. Yeah. And he was weird. She was very... And, like, it wasn't just her. It was multiple girls in the office were like, that dude's weird. I would avoid him.
Yeah, see, I think those are like the surface creeps. But I think a lot of women, especially now, are looking into the nice guy creeps. That I didn't think he was a creep. Like, you just can't be the, like, quiet IT dude who sniffs panties creep anymore. Because there's regular everyday people who you thought was nice and chill, and then they do, like, some really creep shit to you. And then you're just like, what the fuck? Like,
there's this one guy
I thought you were normal.
that's, like, really seems really creepy. And we're always like, we want to call like the FBI to search his computer because we're always like, we think they're going to find some crazy shit. You just get like that like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy vibe.
Right, yeah.
I read a lot about that shit. I'm always like,
yeah.
You seem like you might be some type of serial. There might be bodies in your basement.
True. And I feel like a lot of things with creep, I mean, like I relate women and creeps to... I don't know about all races, but I know black people and racists. Because a lot of people are racist and don't know it.
Oh, yeah.
Or they have racist beliefs and don't know it. And I equally think a lot of guys do creepy shit and they don't know it. Now, the real difference is and this is what I try to gauge, because I know a lot of people that I work with, it's not that they're racist. They have racist beliefs because they're super ignorant and they don't know any better, and they've never really been challenged to think. Mm-hmm. You have to like separate those people from the people who are like racist and they're trying to hide it with like a social justice warrior charade. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like I can't speak for women, but I kind of feel like women have that same intuition too, where you can be like, this dude did a little bit of a creepy thing, but I know he's overall a good guy. I just kind of felt like that one part was like a little washy, where it's just like, you think you're a good guy, you fucking wear a wedding ring and shit, but I would never get in a car with you because something about me lets me know that you are a creepy motherfucker.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And even though he may not be sniff your panties in the IT room creepy, there's just something about him.
He might say something inappropriate where you're like,
or he just gives you like a look or something.
Yeah, or he like looks at your boobs and you see it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't think you see it.
Yeah. I have a habit of looking at people's feet and shoes. And
because it's safer.
No, I'm generally interested in what people wear on their feet and shoes. It's 100% true. Like when people walk by, especially in the workplace, I'm always super interested. And then I look at my own feet and shoes and wonder, because I make conclusions about people on their feet and shoes. And I always think it's very interesting on how, like, okay, so there might be like 10 girls in my office. Out of that 10, 7 girls have their toes out, and it may not necessarily be. And then there's like maybe 5 dudes. No dudes have their toes out.
Yeah, very few people wear men wear their toes out because it's not considered business professional.
Right, and then I look at the toes that are out, and I'm like, is this a well kept toe or not a well kept toe? Like, are you wearing your toes out because you're lazy, or do you like your feet? And I just like go down these paths, and I'm like, does your like shoe with like the toe out best match the outfit, or were you just like whatever? And then I look at the dudes, and I'm like, you can tell a lot by a dude in his shoes. You can just tell a lot. Like I just look, and I'm just like comparing them, and I'm comparing them with the outfit. And very rarely do you see a pair of shoes that don't go with an outfit.
That's so true.
Usually it's like, yeah, you would wear your suit like that. Crazy ass ugly shoes.
I was gonna say you would wear those orthopedic looking Reeboks with your shirt tucked in and your tummy hanging over.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh wow, those New Balances look awful. You would wear those with some Wrangler jeans. And then there's like, yeah, you know what? You do have like some super shiny pointy shoes and that tailored suit and your thing and pants. Yeah, and you're a fucking analyst. Like you're not in front of anyone. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know. So it's something that I do, and I feel like people probably have seen me staring down at people, and I try to like. I don't try to hide it because I feel like when you hide things, it makes you look guilty.
True.
I also try to do it equally amongst the board of men and women. That way I would hate for the girls in my office to think that I just stare at their toes because I have a foot fetish.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't. Feet are fucking gross.
True.
And I think, I always think that's hilarious. To me, something that I do. So, yep.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, depending on what kind of dick your coworker is, if they're just generally annoying, I would say just avoid them.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this. P.S.
As
I was
you
on
can.
A complete tangent.
Feats. I would say if you can avoid them, if they're saying problematic things.
Yep.
Depending on how problematic, I would either address it with them, or if it's someone that you feel like you might hit.
Yeah.
Or, get an altercation with, I will go to your HR or boss.
Yeah, I think as a dude, I'm always hesitant for HR. I think, and I think that's just like a difference between men and women, where I think women are more encouraged for HR.
Yeah, because like for me, it really depends on the person. Like if it's a dude that makes me feel hella unsafe and uncomfortable,
right?
I'm going to HR.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to my husband and HR.
Yeah,
like,
I would go to HR. If a girl was making me uncomfortable at work, I wouldn't go to HR for that. I would probably just be like, yo, you need to chill the fuck out. Like, I would have like a real conversation. And I know that's wrong as well, because then they can take that back and be like, he threatened me.
Exactly. Or it could turn around and be like, he was trying to harass me.
Yeah, I know. And I just know like the way that I think and how society has kind of like warped some of my like perspective. I as far as like a race person, I would probably judge the rest of the company and be like, if they let this motherfucker in here, how many more people are, racially motivated? And then from that judgment, I would go to HR.
Yeah.
Where if he's just a bad apple, but if he's just one of many, I would
yeah.
probably not,
That's
and then
true.
just start skating for like another spot to work.
Yeah, yeah. If you're working with a bunch of douches.
Because I'm not trying to work. I'm not trying to like battle you through the channels that are built for you to win.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, I guess that wraps us up for the week. Next time, send all of your letters, questions, comments, concerns to Lulu and Pop 2016 at gmail.com, and we will try to get to them. Also, Lauren is running a campaign on our social medias to get some 5-star reviews and some positive comments. So head over to our Instagram, check out the post there, and what you'll see is a lovely Steven Universe thermos. If you would like to be entered into the drawing that we will do live on Facebook and Instagram, what we need you to do, you want to take it from here, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I mean, you're going good.
I'm going good. Okay, cool. What we need you to do is to go to the iTunes podcasting, go into the search bar, type in Lulu and Pop. Actually, if you type in Lulu, we're the first things that pop up. We dominate with SEO. Type in Lulu and Pop and give us a 5 stars and a positive comment. Screenshot that and send it to us. Either on Facebook or I guess slide into the DMs on
We're on Instagram
Twitter. Or Twitter. We're all over there. You can find us always with Lulu and Pop. It's a cute little avatar. And then you'll be entered into a drawing that we'll do live on Facebook and IG to win the cup.
Yep. And if this works, I mean, if this is something that people are into, I'm thinking maybe I'll do some more in, the future, have some more giveaways for some.
Right. Can we ever get into the market where we're hitting maybe like the fetish department and we're giving out like, I don't know, used panties or something? I mean, I'm down to put up some used boxers.
You was like, you or me?
I mean, if you put up a pair of panties, I put up a pair of boxers, we're good. I mean, if you don't feel good with the panties, we can go with some socks.
We would have to advertise on a different platform.
Oh, okay. That's like a different level.
That's not Instagram.
Okay.
It's families on Instagram.
I mean, because these Fruit of the Looms is ready. You just need to let me know when.
Louise.
I'll do something crazy like work out in them and go live. Like,
yeah, we'll stick with cutesy shit for now.
Play some tag football or.
You want to see who's ordering that, who's trying to win this shit? You want to meet that person?
Yo, go to Instagram, go to iTunes, go to the 5-star and a positive comment, and I will give you my CrossFit underwears that I wore the other day. And then like some like crazy insane person will probably get down with that.
Billy Joe, 1945.
I just imagine like, would you fuck me?
Yeah. Yeah, some scary
I'd fuck me
shit.
hard. He's like, I only accept it with a face-to-face delivery.
Yeah, let's put that on the back burner for now, baby.
All right, you wanna okay.
So
we'll put a pin in it.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in it.
All
I respect you and your opinion so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can give other things away, like shirts, toothbrushes, dry towels.
Why are you trying to give away our home goods?
I'm just trying to connect with the audience in a more
intimate way.
Yeah. Just let them know that I'm here for them. And if they want a part of my life, I'll give them like my left shoe.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah. Not everything has to be like Steven Universe cute. We can get
branch
a little
out.
Yeah, get out there, give them my sweat rag.
We'll see how that we'll put a pin in that for now, boo.
All right.
But yeah, so follow us on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
at Lady Knickers, at Mark vs. the Universe, and at Lulu and Pop. Follow us on our parent company. Is this still the correct link? Spaces?
Spaces Philly.
Spaces Philly. And please follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Lulu and Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up for Fishbox and never mix another package again. Head to www.getfishbox.com and use our discount code SPACES to get 30 days free. Got anything else, Baby Bear?
Yeah, I just saw an article for a firefighter accused of luring wife's boyfriend and then forcing her to watch a beatdown. Yo, this shit's crazy. The world's nuts. And we're not even talking about the super heavy duty stuff that's happening. So
yeah, we're not.
We'll save that for another day.
Another show.
My shout. I just want to send blessings to everyone affected down in Charlottesville. You know, That shit is real, and it affected me a lot this weekend. I think it might be why I hate that movie also so much. And I just need like an escape. So prayers to everyone that went down there and are dealing with that.
They announced that one girl that lost her life.
It was a girl.
It was a 32-year-old white female.
Okay. Well, shout out to the news people, like the reportings, for actually saying that the guy who did it was a terrorist. Because usually they're just like, proud father of two runs over multiple people. So, sometimes you got to praise the little changes. So, on that note, I think we're done for the show. It recorded, so that's good. We don't have to worry about a mishap. And until next time, Lauren, say goodbye.
Goodbye.